market. We're 0.9% in the red in today's session. We've seen many days of losses. In fact, we're very close to 3-month lows. How much more downside can we expect?
Maybe a little bit more, but not that substantially. I think there was a sense that the Kenyan market would probably experience some form of correction. It's had a very good run in the course of this year, and we're expecting a correction. So it decided to come around this time. We've had quite a number of companies looking to raise capital around this time, and especially the Kenya Power Rights offering that's going to kick off tomorrow. That appears to have been a key catalyst, in terms of weighing down on the market.
Well, Eric, it wasn't too long ago that we were eyeing out the 5,000 level. Do you think that's a possibility for 2011? Yeah, 2011 certainly. 2010, the year is almost over. No other catalyst. But 2011, I think, as long as the current macro conditions prevail, and a sense of political stability, and with issues surrounding that being resolved, I think 2011 should also be generally a good year. All right, let's touch on the shilling. The shilling coming under pressure at a fresh 2-month low against the US dollar. Also keeping in mind that the euro is coming under significant pressure against a basket of major currencies, and the shilling basically tracks the likes of the dollar. We also heard that the MPC said that it's going to continue participating in the market, buying up reserves, and this could be a dampener for shilling strength going forward.
I think if you look at the Kenya shilling, generally it's a very good currency. Most of the time it's quite stable. And what the central bank is doing is just building up reserves. And I suspect it probably do that in an opportunistic manner, probably in circumstances where the shilling appears to be appreciating, which isn't such a bad thing, because also, you have to balance in terms of the country's competitiveness. But more or less, I think it's more about moving towards the statutory requirements of 4 months import cover. In fact, the convergence criteria on the East African community is 6 months import cover, which tells you that over time, ideally, Kenya should generally have a cover of about 6 months.
Of course, we saw rates unchanged last week, and we just had news out that the year-on-year inflation rate in Kenya rose to 3.84% in November from 3.09% in October. High fuel prices being the reason for the increase in that inflation rate. Do you think that we could see a number that might be a little bit volatile, given the fact that fuel prices are going to start increasing, despite the fact that food prices are still relatively low?
I don't think so. I mean, if you look at that inflation rate, 3.8, 3.9, it's still within 4.5% is really what we are targeting for this year. And given the last couple of months, we've seen inflation, remaining quite low. So despite some of these shocks, and they've only happened in, say, the last 1 month, it's nothing really significant, to be concerned about in terms of impacting overall inflation for the year. Obviously, going forward, you'd want to watch that, and I think that there are steps towards, trying to look at how inflation could be controlled, especially with regards to oil prices. In terms of food, I think we've had a relatively good year. And of course, that also was as a result of a high base created in previous year where food prices were quite high. So at the moment, I think inflation remains quite under control.
Let's touch on Kenyan. You mentioned it a little earlier. It seems a lot of corporates coming to the market trying to raise capital. The rights issue kicking off tomorrow. What are you expecting from market participants in tomorrow's session, or do you think that it's largely being priced in?
I think there's a sense that most investors just want to take money off the table, some sort of profit taking, just book their profits before the end. And obviously there are a bit of uncertainties which have worried the market over the last 1 week, especially surrounding the political situation. But I think all those will be resolved, and we'll probably start seeing some sort of stability in coming weeks. Obviously, you have the Kenya Power Rights offering, in which the government will not be participating. So we are likely to see some investors looking to apply in excess of their rights. And
And that's obviously having an impact in terms of liquidity in the market.
Of course, Kenyan also talking about that 19% stake that it could sell to a strategic partner. We could hear news of that early 2011. What does the market make of this?
I mean, I think it's mainly from a country perspective. I mean, how would Kenyan be best positioned in terms of being able to generate electricity? And the sense is that, if they are to sell a strategic stake, it probably not be for the sake of the cash. It probably be for the expertise that the strategic investor will be bringing on board. Remember that Kenyan is looking to probably put up a nuclear power plant somewhere in Coast Province. So obviously, a strategic investor with that sort of expertise would be of a lot more value than an investor would just be bringing just cash, because cash really Kenyan can raise from the market.
Safaricom, the second tranche of that 5-year medium-term note worth 4.4 billion shillings. We know that it's going to be on sale from tomorrow, from the 1st of December. And we know the company launched that first tranche worth 12 billion shillings last year. What are you expecting in terms of uptake this time around?
I think liquidity is quite sufficient in the market. We haven't seen the pricing supplement, so that's going to determine a lot, what level of pricing comes in. But looking at the subscription level of government offerings, it tells you at least there's liquidity to take up the offer. But one has to take into cognizance we've had quite a number of offerings coming through at the same time. We currently have the Deacons offering running.
Yeah.
We have the Bralirwa in Rwanda, which I think Kenyan companies are going to be participating. We have the Kenya Power offering, and so I think there are a number of competing interests, and depending on how it's priced, I think that's what's going to determine the uptake level.
Fantastic.